This week on the Bubble Chat.
The Conservative Party or the leader of the Conservative Party? Why are we apologizing when we all have the freedom of speech? Let me tell you.
But we don't all have the freedom of speech. There have been comedians that have been silent.
It was about living up to a brand. For example, Joe Jonas, who was part of the Jonas Brothers, spoken about during his Disney Channel days. Every single song that was made had to be kid-friendly to fit that Disney image, even when that wasn't always what he wanted artistically.
Young black men, Black Lives Matter, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, all, Barack Obama, like, we matter, right? We're people. Children, sex trafficking, I don't care what creed you is. You see what I'm saying? When it came out, it retailed at $86,000. Okay, the bitch were about $18,000. The instant when I say something cryptic on social media, if you get it, you got it. You see, and if you don't, you won't. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bubble Chat. This is the podcast where the conversations float, pop, and sometimes stick around longer than you expect. I am your boy Adonis, here with my co-host and director, nephew, Mr. Jawan. And unfortunately, cousin Tracy James is not with us, but we have a co-host here to refill her, and we have Miss Empress here for the evening. We're going to dive into some stories, headlines, and situations that everyone has been talking about. So no sugarcoating, no empty noise, just real takes, thoughtful discussions, and a little bit of laughter along the way.
Here at the Bubble Chat, we like to take a look.
Do it.
Here at the Bubble Chat, we like to take the conversations that are buzzing online and bring them down to earth. Whether it's music, culture, or the messy drama in between, we'll pull it apart, put it back together again, and try to figure out what it really means. Think of it as your go-to space for the talk you'd usually say for your group chat.
Now look here, don't get it twisted, because we're not here to lecture or throw out hot cakes just to stir the pot. This is all about balance. Some topics will have you laughing out loud. Others might have you sitting and it may hit you a little bit deeper. While sometimes we'll just let the conversation wander in its best possible way. Because honestly, that's what good chats are made of.
Every episode is an open space, not just for opinions, but for perspective. We'll highlight different voices, share different angles, and remind ourselves that behind every headline or trending topic is a real story with real people. That's what keeps our bubble alive, the human side of things.
That's right. So if you're ready to tune out of the noise and tune into something real, you're in the right place. Welcome again to the Bubble Chat. Let's get this conversation started. And like the great gossip queen herself said, how you doing?
How you doing?
Now I'm over here sipping some tea that tastes like baby powder. She said, what is it? White peach.
White peach.
It tastes like baby powder. It's nice. It's nice and soft. Make me
It's
want to lay
very
down.
soft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, all right, so check this out. First and foremost, Jimmy Kimmel late night show was recently suspended indefinitely after comments made about in a monologue. I'm sorry, because I'm excited.
I got excited with you. I said, what?
Yes, I'm excited. Okay. All right, so check this out. Jimmy Kimmel, late night show host, was recently suspended indefinitely after comments made in a monologue about the assassination of a conservative activist, Charlie Kirk. In that segment, Kimmel said that the MAGA gang was trying to spin the situation by making the killer out to be anything other than one of them, while accusing them of using the tragedy for political advantage. Well, the backlash was immediate and ABC, along with Disney. I was just there over the weekend. They pulled Jimmy Kimmel live off the motherfucking air.
What?
Now the suspension. Now the suspension sparked rage across Hollywood. Unions like the Writers Guild, SAG-AFTRA, along with several free speech organization criticized the decision as a dangerous move against expression, causing a boycott to ABC along with their Disney Plus subscription, along with Disney's affiliated subscriptions in their entirety. Well, as of September 22nd, that was just the other day. The other day, ABC announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be returning to on air September 22nd. Was that last
So
night?
they
or
bring him
tonight?
back?
Yes, they're gonna bring him back. Was that last night or tonight? What's today's date?
Today's
The
26th, so it was a few days ago.
Okay, right. So he's back. He's back in rotation. So
Mhm.
Disney admitted that some of Kimmel's comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive, but said that the decision to bring him back followed thoughtful conversations. Still, the controversy isn't completely resolved. Sinclair Broadcast Group has already stated it won't show the ABC affiliate stations unless certain conditions are met, such as an apology or other public announcement. Let me tell you about that mango sprayed colored man that lived in the color of white rice. You know what? I want to be on Disney. I want to be on ABC. I'm not gonna say nothing. What you was gonna say, Empress?
Well, you know what? I kept on waiting for the apology because
He
they
don't know no
always
damn apology.
no, I'm saying though, Disney, they canceled him. Now, if it was now, who else have said this before? And they had to give an apology. What about like Nick Cannon? Nick Cannon said
Yes.
something. Remember, they didn't let him come back until he gave an apology. They straight up was like, no, you're gonna apologize for what you said. Now they let this man do what without an apology? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not saying whether he should or not. I'm just saying, according to how they do business out here, when it comes to you saying the wrong shit.
See, it's not the apology, it's who and why are we apologizing? When you apologize, you're supposed to do it for yourself.
But that's never
Ain't
why
that right?
Yeah, but that's not
Ain't
how
that
they
what
do
we're
it
taught?
here.
That when you apologize, you're supposed to apologize for yourself. The
That's how we
apology
was
is
taught.
for you.
That's not how they was taught. I'm sorry.
The man with the cover of the table right here need to get it together.
You know, I'll be real. I'm actually glad ABC listened to the pushback about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. The
Yes.
fact that so many people in Hollywood, unions, and even free speech organizations stood up for him mattered. And it feels like his freedom of speech was at least acknowledged in the end. Because I think it's important because once you start silencing comedians or late night hosts over controversial commentary, you're
Man,
treading into
yeah.
dangerous territory.
Well, they
But
did.
at the same
They did that already.
yeah, but honestly, at the same time, part of me feels like this whole resolution is a little more of a sorry you got caught moment from Disney and ABC rather than a genuine acknowledgement of why pulling the show in the first place was such a bad look. Saying these words were ill-timed and insensitive doesn't really address the bigger issue. It just feels like corporate damage control. And let's not forget, Disney has been taking some serious hits from losing billions of dollars, and Disney Plus has been bleeding subscriptions, most of us included. Moves like this don't exactly rebuild trust with audiences who already feel like this company is disconnected with from its viewers. So yeah, while I'm happy Jimmy Kimmel is back and his voice wasn't permanently silenced, the way this was handled leaves me wondering if Disney learned anything from the backlash or if they're just hoping people would forget about it and move on.
True.
Well, I just wonder what is
What is he supposed to say? Who is he supposed to be apologizing to? Is this the Conservative Party or the leader of the Conservative Party? Why are we apologizing when we all have the freedom of speech? Let me tell you
but
what
we
happened.
don't all have hold on. We don't all have the freedom of speech. There have been comedians that have been silenced in our community. And it's always has
That's but that's by the powers that be. It wasn't like it wasn't that they were scared to say what they said. They actually were able to say it and had a platform and an audience to hear it. See that part?
Yes.
See that part?
Yes.
But what I'm gonna say is I was at Disneyland with my one-legged ass. And I walked and I rode the whole both parks and all the motherfucking rides, okay? But I was so goddamn delirious when I was done, I didn't know where I had parked. And I needed to be assisted back to my car. Now the man was mad at me because I'm very, very assertive. I don't even care even if I am dying on my last leg. I was very assertive and I was very, very articulate with asking questions and receiving the information that I needed and making sure that he understood that I understood what he had said.
Right.
Well, in the midst of it, I had to give him the bird.
Oh no. Did you?
Then the supervisor's gonna say that, and then they're gonna treat me like one of the kids on Bebe's kids. So he said, "Did you just flip off my employee?" I said, "Yes, I did." I said, "That is freedom of expression. Are you mad that I am expressing myself?" And I gave him the burden a whole nother way. Now they left my little one-legged ass for dead right there in the parking lot to find my own shit.
Did they?
But I know my rights and I have freedom of expression, like comedians and like Jimmy Kimmel has the freedom of fucking speech.
But you gotta.
It is those in the power and those in the principle that are dictating what people are writing and what they are saying.
But what is his point? What is his purpose though? What is his purpose for saying that?
He wasn't even whistleblowing. He didn't even snitch on nobody. It was all public knowledge. But
he said it.
I'm sorry to say this. The Republican, they was trying to act like it was a Democrat, and it was one of their very own. So they say birds of a feather flock together. They don't want to be associated. So that would be like, well, he's a black swan now, nigga, but he's gonna grow up and be white. He's gonna look just like you one day. And he just didn't look like them that day. That day. It was the wrong reflection when listening to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Wow. I mean, this is some, this is
baby powder flavored tea.
This is wow. I mean, I really don't care what they say, honestly.
What I want to know? I want to know what spray tan tastes like now. So.
Why?
Because
it's probably not salt.
It probably ain't getting no vitamin C either.
Hell no.
Okay, next story. What we talking about now?
I think Empress has the next story.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Miranda Cosgrove, who rose to fame through School of Rock, Drake and Josh, and iCarly, says child acting is an adult job in an adult world. Okay, you better say it. And when kids are involved, it becomes especially complex. She shares that her parents, Tom and Chris, were supportive without pushing too hard. Her mom never fully took on the role of manager, which she believes spared their relationship from unnecessary strain. Cosgrove's advice to parents: be really tough and know when to pull your kid out of situations. Agreed. She warns that many messy situations arise not because kids want to act, but because it's the parents' desires that take over. She recalls part of her own childhood in that spotlight. Homeschooled, navigating sudden fame, co-stars becoming like family, also being acutely aware of how fast things can change and how public perception of pressure can creep in. From what Miranda Cosgrove describes, how should a parent balance protecting their child's well-being while still encouraging their aspirations in acting? Good question. So Bubbler, is that me or you? So Bubblers, how do you think networks should balance free speech with corporate responsibility when it comes to moments like this?
Miranda said something recently that I think is 1,000,000% correct. And honestly, it's something that hasn't been talked about enough. She pointed out, when it comes to kids in the entertainment industry, parents really need to be tough and they need to know when to pull their child out of situations that just don't feel right. And she's absolutely right, because if you look back at how child and teen actors were treated, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, so many of them were working like adults who had to prove themselves twice as hard. Back then, kids weren't just acting on a set, they were doing press junkets, interviews, endless photo shoots, public appearances, meeting fans, and constantly being told to maintain this picture perfect image. Because it wasn't just about the role they played on TV or in a movie, it was about living up to a brand. For example, Joe
Mhm.
Jonas, who was part of the Jonas Brothers, spoken about during his Disney Channel days, every single song that was made had to be kid friendly to fit that Disney image, even when that wasn't always what he wanted artistically, because that level of control and pressure takes a toll, especially when you're still figuring out who you are as a person. Thankfully, it feels like in most cases today, we're not seeing the exact same model play out, at least 90% of it, because there seems to be more awareness now, more conversation about protecting
Yes,
child
yes,
actors,
yes,
well,
yes, yes.
well-being and letting them have actual boundaries. But even with progress, it's still a tricky balance, and a lot of kids go into this industry not only because they love it, but because it becomes a financial lifeline for their families. So it's not always about dreams. Sometimes it's about survival, and that adds even more pressure. And that's why I think, and Tracy mentioned this in the bubble chat, parents and directors need to be constantly communicating with their child about what
Yes.
they're comfortable with and what they're not. And that includes giving space to kids who don't always feel like they have a voice. If a child doesn't feel ready for a photo shoot or a certain storyline or pressure of interviews, those concerns should matter just as much as the demands of a network or a studio. And another thing that can make a big difference is when parents accompany their child consistently. Being present doesn't just mean being in the background. It means actively making sure that a child is safe in safe hands, advocating for them when needed, and stepping in when something feels off. Because it's about protecting the child's humanity in a system that sometimes sees them more as products than people. And Miranda's putting this advice out there is important because she lived it. And the fact that she's urging parents to step up and be tougher about protecting their kids just goes to show how necessary that conversation still is today. Yeah.
When Empress was reading over the details of the article, what I kept thinking about was you're only safe when they were already in the business. Like Sissy Houston sang background and gospel and for Aretha Franklin, and ain't no way that that Sissy. Whitney Houston came to her and said, "I want to be a star." You ready? And then look at the product that was made. She was not a manager. It's not a part of her career. She opened up the keys, right? You know, the man that played Joanna Man, Miguel, who and such. His mama basically, girl, I'm not even talking about no dead woman's boom boom like that. But she was a runaway fillet from Soul Train. She was that girl that they wanted back in the day. In the thigh highs, in the baby ears, and the ankle up in the short skirt. Right? She wrote, "This is a man's work." So kind of so when he or she said that do you want to do this? Is this your next move? This the dream? It was already given because they were kind of already associated. Another person I think about is Tootie Kim Fields, her mama. That was Janet Jackson. Mama burned her with that iron. Oh, yeah, that's right. You see what I'm saying? She's been in the game a long time, and then Tootie was groomed. And look at the fabulous, wonderful career she's had, not being her manager. And I say these things because we see what the parenting managers do. That's Michael Jackson, Joe Jackson. That's Reginald Knowles, Daddy Knowles. King Mama's Sonia King sings. What's that? Norwood, that King Mama Sonia Norwood, right? We see what the parenting, like I don't want to say pimping of it all happens, but there I do see the grace.
What she was saying.
I see the grace between the parent not being the manager and the mercy not shown as the manager.
Well, clearly what
They were
she
all
said,
superstars,
right?
but some are broken and some are still whole and working still. Janet came out better than Michael, but Michael carried the whole brunt of it, right? Not, but you have to think the parents are thinking they're doing their children a favor. We're here. This is your dream. Like, and this money on the line on them. If you don't pull it together, I will shake you up in this closet. You're gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready.
But that's what she was saying.
Exactly
She's
right.
saying that the parents are
Right.
but she said they
vicariously through them. Okay, so
like, you know, when that money is attached to it, and plus
that
fame
pressure
and all of
that lifestyle
they
you
are
into,
cracking that whip.
reputation you don't want in Hollywood on the set.
You don't have no freedom because they are like, no, you do it like this, you do it this way, and because they doing too much, they're trying to relive their whole life with their kids, and that's not okay. And
Spears,
she is right because that industry is, you know, it is. You have to. It's a cost to everybody who's in it. So if you let your kids be in it, then you have to be willing to say no to some things, walk away for some things. And some of them things got some big dollar signs next to it. And sometimes people don't be walking away from it.
What opportunity you wish you never had next.
Yes, it's like you got to know what your values are. And I think that's just the underline. It's like when you see success, healthy, you know, families who are in the industry, it's because they have some values. And they're like, there are some things we're just not gonna do. But then, you know, some people just, there's some things that they will do.
They did like the Kardashians /
they'll do whatever.
Yes.
I mean, it's all the values.
Oh my God. And that's what I was gonna say. Your mama name is Chris. It could be a beneficial hard road ahead, baby. I'm just saying. What's next on the docket?
All right, up next. The Mississippi State Medical Examiner's report has officially ruled the death of
Damar Trevion.
Trey Reed, a 21-year-old student. What?
At Delta State University.
I know, it just thinks about
oh my God.
I would think they're going to say.
What? Reed's body was found hanging from a tree near a pickleball court on campus early Monday morning. The manner and cause of death are consistent with initial findings of the Bolivar County coroner, who reported no signs of physical trauma or assault. Despite the ruling, final toxicology test results are still pending and could take up to 2 to 4 weeks to complete. All investigative materials, including files and evidence, have been forwarded to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office to allow for further review. University officials recognize the deep emotional and unrest that has stirred, especially given Mississippi's historical history. Delta State president said that the way Reed was found brought up painful imagery and acknowledged that this incident isn't just about the facts, but those who are affected. Even though the autopsy ruled Trey Reed's death a suicide, many are calling for a full transparency and independent investigation. In such cases, how much weight should communities give to initial findings versus the concerns about historical context, symbolism, need for trust in the system?
I still believe, like so many others, that this case deserves a full and thorough investigation. I can't just sit back and accept this explanation without any questions. And I know that I'm not alone in that, because let's be real. What if Trey was being cyberbullied? What if people were targeting him online or in person because of his race? What if he was constantly being hit with racial slurs or demeaning comments, and the people in power, professors and administrative staff, weren't doing jack shit to stop it? And what if it wasn't a fucking suicide at all? That can break a person down. That can push someone to the edge. And if that was happening, then ignoring it is not just negligence, it's complicity. And the fact that this tragedy happened on a university campus in Mississippi makes it even heavier. Mississippi isn't just another state in this context that it has hit It has a deep, painful history when it comes to race and violence. The Equal Justice Initiative documented that from 1877 to 1950, more than 4,000 Black men, women, and children were lynched across the South. And out of all the states, Mississippi has the highest number, and that's just generations of Black families living under terror, stripped of due process, stripped of dignity. And the NAACP reminds us lynching is, and I quote, the public killing of an individual who has not received due process under the law. That history doesn't just vanish, it lingers. It shapes how cases like Trey's are viewed, and it's exactly why people don't trust quick rulings that tie everything up neatly without deeper answers. Because for far too long, Black lives in Mississippi have been devalued, dismissed, and forgotten. And that's my biggest fear here with this case. And is that Trey's case will be treated as just another tragedy filed away and forgotten. His family shouldn't even have to carry the weight of unanswered questions. They shouldn't have to scream for attention to get people to care. And they deserve clarity. They deserve accountability. They deserve to know beyond a shadow of doubt what truly happened to their son. And I truly hope to God that a serious, transparent, and independent investigation takes place. One that looks at all the angles, one that doesn't let anyone off the hook because the truth matters and Trey's family deserves nothing less.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the fact that it is important that they do their own investigation, because why wouldn't they? I mean, are they going to really trust? I mean,
The Mississippi
bankers
corner.
to do the. I mean, are they really? Because listen, I'm 45, right? How old are you?
26.
Okay, so like, and then my mom is like 76, and so my mama said that stuff was happening during her day. I'm pretty sure it was happening in her mama's day. It's happening in mine. So it's like
It's still cycling.
it's still cycling, and I'm saying that I don't know. We might want to think about doing something different, because clearly it's the cycle is just still continuing. Why are we talking about this now too? In your generation, you're 26. And so it's like these things are important. And at the same time, we have to ask ourselves too, like, are we really safe here as a people? And if we're not safe here as a people, then what do we need to be and do to be safe as a people here? And that's the really bigger question, because otherwise, then your kids are going to be saying the same thing and just in a different medium.
It is so much bigger. It's more than a hanging. That is the cause of the effect of someone's actions, the way they were thinking, something that they believed in, something they followed through on that was not right. You said, as a people, right? So when you say, it's like, so there's so many, like, remember we used to watch Batman and be like kaboom, pow, like, okay, let me tell you all these things and these balloons in my head. So it was like, when you said as a people, I was like, well, women are people, and women go through domestic violence, and women are raped, and their birthrights and all those things are being jeopardized and gambled with right now today, right? And then you said people, and I was like, oh shit, like, people really do try and escape third world countries to come here and other places for a better life. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're people, right? Young Black men, Black Lives Matter, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, all, Barack Obama, like, we matter, right? We're people. Children, sex trafficking, I don't care what creed you is. You see what I'm saying? You run around here, snotty-nosed, 7 years old, missing the front tooth or two. You are people, little people. You see what I'm saying? But it's not See, they're just the victims. The Black people are the victims. The immigrant are cultural, economical victims, right? You see what I'm saying? Women are victims. People are victims from other people's actions. So I'm so tired because we're immune to mass shootings. It doesn't affect us as much as it did when it happened. You see what I'm saying? So as long as this lynching isn't going on, first thing I thought it was, oh, it'll probably be a TV daytime special. A super investigative report. The truth will it'll eventually come out.
Eventually.
Right? But
Eventually.
because I'm so immune to this type of I mean, no, this is kind of random. Now these actions do happen a little bit far and in between of each other versus the shootings and all the other. But I'm just saying, like, crazy unwarranted shit happens every day by someone's crazy, unwarranted actions. And I'm so tired of the, it's the victim is, I mean, yes, they're the end product of someone else's actions. Yeah. What's wrong with that fool? You see that mass shooter, the sex trafficker, the domestic violencer, like, oh my God, like,
I mean, I understand it because that's what
you see what I'm saying? But
yeah.
It's like we all had got a vaccine for the horrific shit that can happen in the world and in life. And did you get your shot?
I mean, whether I did or
not.
not.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It's like, because maybe you didn't get it, maybe you might have depression or anxiety or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like,
or maybe you had that before.
Yeah, so you can be immune to this shit, so it don't affect you.
Well, from all of us here at the Bubble Chat, we want to send our deepest condolences to Trey's, Reed's family, and everyone who has been affected by this tragedy. And if you or someone you care about is dealing with mental health struggles, emotional pain, substance use abuse, or just need someone to listen, help is always available. You can dial or text 988 or go to 988lifeline.org to connect with the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which is open 24/7.
Woo! Well. Next on the agenda, Floyd Mayweather has filed a lawsuit against Vegas Auto Gallery, accusing these dirty dealership motherfuckers of deceptive trade practices and misrepresentation after his July 2025 purchase of 4 luxury vehicles, including a 2018 Mercedes Maybach G650. He says the total of the cars were $2.25 million, okay? And for the 4 cars, and later found issues with at least one of them, the Maybach, claiming that the history was misrepresented. According to Mayweather, his team discovered that Maybach had been involved in lawsuits. Oh, wait a minute, the car had a case? Wait, the car had a case, girl. No. So look, had been involved in lawsuits, had replacement parts installed.
Not replacement parts.
And like proper documentation. No.
Oh my God.
Vehicle. Okay, so he also alleges that the Vegas Auto Gallery charged him approximately $1.2 million for the Maybach. That's because your ass can't read.
Oh my God.
Assessing that the dealership only paid out $728,000 for it, meaning he overpaid it by $500,000.
Oh my God. Overpaid it.
Because he can't read. What makes you think he can act? Additional claim. I would see the You ought to be suing your team at this point.
Why?
You ought to be suing your team at this point. Lord, you ought to be suing the people that work for you.
Talk to Chad.
They all cut that cheese. Okay, look. Damn. Additional claims include that the vehicle wasn't street legal in its current condition. It allegedly lacked required title, odometer certification. Okay, this car was a thug. It wasn't right. The DOT and the EPA appliance, custom clearance, the inspection
They didn't
certification.
check none of that stuff. They just
Ma-
assumed that it was
look,
just all gonna be right.
Mayweather literally is gonna say that the dealer should have known these were missing. He probably did, and so for it. So look,
He was supposed to know.
in celebrity lawsuits like this, where documentation and disclosure are at issue, how much responsibility should the buyer take to verify the vehicles versus holding the seller full accountable, especially when big money and specialized products are involved? It's the people you got robbed by the people you work
But
for.
he still, if he gonna spend that much money, he must.
How did he even find out? See, when you got money like that, it's always a referral game. So who told you to go
That's
to the
question.
dealership?
That's
Floyd,
the question, because
Who told you?
that sounds like some backdoor
That
hookup
was some
stuff.
this nigga. He can't read.
So, according to Yahoo Entertainment, the attorney for Vegas Auto Gallery claims that back in June 2025, Floyd Mayweather signed a confession of judgment. And for those who don't know, a confession of judgment is basically a legal document where someone admits to owing money in court without going through a full trial. In this case, Floyd reportedly admitted to personally owing $1.2 million. But here's where things get messy. Even after signing that and being granted an extension, Floyd still didn't pay it up. And the dealership attorney is stressing that you can't sign papers admitting that you owe a debt and then turn around and act like the money is somehow disrupted. That doesn't fly in court.
Do you understand? The universe is talking to you, Floyd. The universe is talking to you. This is what I know. I am driving in my car. Well, when it came out, it retailed at $86,000. Okay, bitch, we're about $18,000 today. Okay, but I drive. Look, when I bought it, and the clause is just to kind of take as is.
Period.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. And he got the money to fix the car.
Do he?
You bet. You know what? Look, while you running around here getting robbed,
I'm just saying, how did he end up at this?
Why you out here getting robbed for $500,000? Because he look.
In
You better have
who
money to
gave
get
him
it
this
fixed.
referral is the question, because how is that how y'all rolling on that up there? With all, y'all got that money and
that's what
how
the
y'all rolling?
illiterate
Y'all got,
CEO.
oh no.
That's when he can't read.
Can't do things on your own like that.
Let me
No.
find me somebody rich.
Well, here's the interesting twist. What we're seeing looks like, and I want to stress looks like, because it's not 100% clear yet, some sort of countersuit is being filed because Vega Auto Gallery is now going after Floyd and Mayweather Promotions for that same $1.2 million, alleging non-payment on that vehicle he purchased back in July. In other words, they're acknowledging that Floyd owes the dealership for the car, and they want the court to enforce that payment. And honestly, I rarely see cases play out like this. Usually it's one lawsuit being filed and then drags out over time. But here it's like one side brings the lawsuit, and then within just a few days, the other side is striking back, either with a counterclaim or a separate lawsuit. It's quick, it's aggressive, and it really shows how high the stakes are when this much money is on the line.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Go read a book, Floyd.
He's got where's his team? He's got to have a team, because why is he?
It ain't safe. It ain't safe.
It's not even safe out there.
I'm sure somebody has.
He's got to learn how to read.
Sure, somebody had a gambling debt that is close around him in that camp, and they needed that money. Because I'm just trying to figure it out. On top of the as is situation, and you rich enough that you could buy these cars, and if something's wrong with it, fix it. It's yours.
But it seems like maybe he's not rich, because why would he go to that dealership?
Why would he not? He spent two.
But he said it's parts missing and all kinds of stuff. That's what he's claiming. That it's like used. It's like in abuse. But it looked pretty.
Ran through like these.
I mean, that's what he said.
You know what, Floyd? You in danger, girl.
You in danger.
Well, next on the agenda, recently Iggy Azalea went on a live stream with creator Neon, where she made comments about an ex asking her for sexual favors allegedly, and she didn't want specifically motions suggesting acts without asking. Fans assumed she was speaking about Playboy Cardi. DJ Academic responded on his kick stream, claiming Iggy used him in an attempt to get Cardi canceled. He also revealed that she sent him a long trade in DMs, then blocked him. Iggy fired back on X, insisting she never named any famous X in that stream and criticized academics for misreporting. She also described her past with a man who was violent and is still an addict, allegedly, saying it impacts her life, especially because they share a child. Academics didn't hold back either. He responded with harsh insults, accused her of seeking attention, and questioned her credibility and behavior. Bubblers, when matters like this involving public figures, ex relationships, and assumed identity in cryptic remarks blow up, what's the line between holding someone accountable for what they're saying and doxing assumptions and mispresenting them without proof? What are your thoughts on this?
That's why you're supposed to keep us out the group chat. Everybody not supposed to know all your business because all of my business is none of your business. Even in the instant when I say something cryptic on social media, if you get it, you got it. You see, and if you don't, you won't. Because I don't have to tell you all my business. But at the same time, slap the cheek and then backhand you upside your face when we keep us out the group chat. To keep us out the group chat. You see what I'm saying? So, right, so it's just like, and then, but it's always, it's always based on the intention. Mm-hmm. But I always like to rely on the truth. So the truth can be looked at exposing. The truth can be looked like support. The truth can be looked at as a key. Slap you back in you on the side of your face. Keep me out the group chat. That's all I'm gonna say. My pretty boy.
That is pretty. It is. It look good on camera too. Oh my God. Hey.
Yeah, but for real, keep me out the group chat and everybody else. Well, shit. All right then. I think did y'all get out? Was that a 10 for 10? Was that a 10 for 10? I'm not down for 10. On to better, brighter, and bigger things. Today, as we continue celebrating Latin Heritage Month, we're shining the spotlight on one of the most influential voices in music right now, whose journey is the definition of persistence and pride in her roots. She grew up in a Mexican-American household where music was more than just a passion. It was a way of connecting her to her heritage and her community. And it's the only one, Becky motherfucking G.
Becky G first gained attention in her early teens, dropping covers and freestyles on YouTube that caught the eye of producers. By the time she was 15, she was already collaborating with artists like will.i.am and Cody Simpson. But it was her breakout single, Shower, in 2014 that launched her into the mainstream. Still, what makes Becky's career so remarkable is how she pivoted from English language pop into becoming a force in the Latin music, fully embracing her bilingual identity. She's a cultural bridge, bringing reggaeton, pop, and regional Mexican sounds to a global audience. She's even explored music mexicana, honoring her family's roots while elevating the genre to international stages. Beyond the music, Becky G uses her platform to advocate for representation, empowerment, and mental health. She often talks about the importance of young Latinas seeing themselves in positions of success and influence, and she leads by example, not just as an artist, but as an entrepreneur and activist.
Come on, Becky G, shout out to Becky G.
Okay. Welcome back to the Bubble Chat. Today we're diving into the role of Bay Area theater with a very special guest. Today's guest is an actor, director, and educator who has been seen all across the Bay Area. He's performed at ACT, Aurora Theater Company, Cal Shakes, Marine Theater Company, and of course, San Francisco Playhouse, where he's about to star in Noises Off. He's been nominated by both the Bay Area Theater Critics Circle and Theater Bay Area, and you may have seen him in productions like The Play Goes Wrong, King Charles III, A Christmas Carol, and even on screen in films like Moss Beach. He isn't just an actor, he is also a director, a teacher, and co-founder of the Actors Space SF. We've got a lot to cover, and I'm so excited he's here. Everyone, give a warm welcome to Patrick Russell. Welcome to the Bubble Chat, Patrick.
Thanks, Joanne. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's really an honor to have you here. Because I know you're a very, very, very busy guy, but so I just want to say, on behalf of the Bubble Chat, I just appreciate you taking some time off to for this interview. I'm really excited.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Alrighty, so let's start from the beginning. What first drew you into acting? Was there a moment where you thought, yes, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Oh gosh. I think it took me a while to figure out if it was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But I think I what first drew me to acting was when I was a little kid, I would say probably like 6 or 7, I saw a production of Les Mis. I was way too young to understand what was going on, I think, on stage, but saw it in San Francisco actually here, and I just like fell in love with that idea, being on stage. And my sister used to be a dancer, and she was in the Nutcracker local production where I grew up, and I really wanted to be on stage as well. So I started doing productions. Started being a part of those productions as one of the little kids in the Christmas party, and did that every holiday season. And then, yeah, it was interesting for me because I was a very shy kid. I still think of myself as pretty shy, but I really found sort of this love of being on stage. It felt like kind of my safe space and where I was finding my voice. So, but I was also really into film as a kid, made a lot of movies, and that's what I started off doing. I got more involved in theater when I was in high school, and actually, this is the first time I ever did Noises Off. Was in high school, and then but then when I got to college, I really missed theater, and then that was kind of the beginning stage of when I decided this is probably what I want to do with my life. That was really impactful time was when I was doing theater in college, and then of course in grad school was where my focus started to shift.
I love that. I really do. Those little sparks are so powerful, and clearly that spark took you pretty far because your career has touched just about every corner of Bay Area theater. And I remember being in the same shoes where I enjoyed acting, specifically by talking to myself and just being this little dramatic kid, and I still am. And I remember and I'm also a film nerd too, so I've been going to the movies a lot. I know a lot of people enjoy movies in the comfort of their home, specifically because they didn't want to spend overpriced snacks. Um, so
Yeah.
So you've done everything from Shakespeare at Cal Shakes to contemporary plays at Aura and big comedies at San Francisco Playhouse. Do you approach a role differently depending on whether it's Shakespeare, a modern drama, or a farce? I do hope I said that right.
A farce? Oh yeah. A farce. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a great question. I try to approach, every play has a different vibe to it. You could say, and a different atmosphere and tone, and I always have to remind myself, like what world I'm stepping into. With Shakespeare, I approach it a little differently, I guess, in terms of like I really, focusing on the language. I get really sort of remind myself of like, Shakespeare's like music in a way, and the poetry of it, and how to, how it's obviously going to be a very different kind of world than doing a modern drama. But at the end of the day, it's all, and even like as I'm working on a farce right now with Noises Off, that it all has to come from a place of truth and treating the circumstances, like the given circumstances, as truthful as possible. So, even though like working on a farce right now, it's a comedy, right? But it's have to always remind ourselves, like at the heart of it is some real human stakes. People like there's a lot at stake, and there's it can be very tempting and easy to fall into a trap of like it's a comedy, so this has a different sort of approach than say a modern drama. But in actuality, you kind of want to approach it the same. You want to approach it with the same exact sense of who is this person, and what do they have, what's at stake for them, what do they need, all of the sort of given circumstances work that we learn in school, and Stanislavski work that's so vital. But each of these plays has a different like for farce, the director Bill English of Noises Off mentioned this great quote about like that farce is like tragedy sped up. And so like it's like treating it like tragedy, but it's it moves quick, so these different plays kind of have a different energy to them, and that's always really fun to explore, creating the atmosphere of that.
That's so interesting. It sounds like you treat each play almost like learning a new language, from Shakespeare to real productions and all that. So that's like I said, that sounds very interesting. Speaking of comedy, you were recently in The Play Goes Wrong last year, which is full of slapstick and physical chaos. How do you prepare for something so physically demanding?
Well, it helps that I'm like, I love physical work. I love physical comedy. I love, very physically active person. And I also teach, movement and all these things. So I'm always kind of ready for that kind of challenge. But how do I prepare? How to prepare for it? I mean, really trying, especially a show like that. We had 8 shows a week for a few months. It's going to be the same for Noises Off, and it's really making sure that I'm stretching and taking care of myself, and it's getting as much rest as I possibly can with my crazy work schedule. But it helps that like I have to lean on all the things that I teach as a movement teacher. That even though this is a very we're meant to emulate on stage, that these characters are under great stress and, sometimes painful situations and tumbling around on stage physically, that it all has to come from a place of ease in the body. And, one of the things about the movement work that I teach, and, like Michael Chekhov technique and these different methods is really training the body to be connected to your breath and grounded, even when you're doing shows like that make it, you want to convey to the audience that these characters are like, going under are under like severely some crazy circumstances. So yeah, it's sort of like making sure that I'm keeping myself really grounded and doing the practices I need, lots of breath work, lots of stretching, and then putting all the like craziness on top of that.
That must keep you on your toes every night, almost like the audience is in on the joke with you. Because I remember seeing this play, and this was my first ever time seeing a play that would go really, really shit.
Yeah.
Like super shit, like, from falling objects, from actually seeing the tech crew actually working on something, into like hear the stage manager, and I was like, I was so expecting this, but not in a way of like, I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
So
That was a very fun show.
yeah, so now I want to dive into your next big project, Noises Off, and just a little quick question: is this play going to be like The Play Goes Wrong?
It very much is. In fact, Noises Off really inspired the play that goes wrong. Noises Off
Oh,
is sort of,
really?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really? Because
Noises Off is a, what's that? Yeah, yeah.
um
It's. Go ahead.
this podcast episode, the podcast episode that goes wrong.
I get
um,
it. Yeah, a little bit. Good
anyways,
timing.
this is Michael Frayn's, I hope I said that right, famous backstage farce, because
Yep.
I said farce, and it's directed by one of the founders of San Francisco Playhouse, Bill English. What's it like? What's it? What has it been like stepping into a show with such a legendary reputation and working under Bill's direction?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of answer that question before, this is sort of the first of its kind that inspired Play That Goes Wrong, and that it was written about 45 years ago almost. It's it when you see it, you're going to see elements of Play That Goes Wrong in it. So it's very similar in that regard, and the sort of joy of watching a theater troupe try to against all odds move through everything that could go wrong on stage. And I have a long history with this play. I did it in high school, as I think I mentioned. It was, to go back to your question about me deciding, when I wanted to do acting, doing Noises Off when I was 15 was hugely instrumental for that. I fell in love with physical comedy. I fell in love with farce. I loved this kind of style. And then I did this show 8 years ago at SF Playhouse, the last time they did it. So more than any show in my life, like Noises Off has like been there on the whole journey of my acting career. And I am playing a different part for the first time than I have before, which is exciting and a good challenge. So it's really interesting to revisit it, especially at SF Playhouse, having done it there before, and to get to see it like, all the similarities, but all the new elements to it, of course, with different actors and different roles. And yeah, I mean, I feel it's working under Bill, who's doing it's amazing to watch him work, and also it was directed by Susie Damilano last time, so it's cool to see like different different interpretations. And yeah, I mean, it's I guess long story short, it's kind of cool to it's an example of how it's like, even if it's the same material, it's always endlessly fascinating how they're the given things that need to be done in the show, but also like how different actors interpret things, and how different approaches can bring out new nuances into the play. And yeah, so it's been really great.
Wow. I feel like farce is the kind of comedy where timing is everything. Miss one beat and the whole rhythm changes. And that must be both terrifying and exhilarating at the same time, because I do remember that when it comes to productions in real life, things happen, and then one person would have to step in, and I remember seeing that process in the play goes wrong. So speaking of which, let's talk about your directing and teaching. In addition to acting, you've directed productions like She Kills Monsters and Stupid Fucking Bird at my alma mater, San Francisco State University. And I gotta say, I had an honor of being your warm-up coach for She Kills Monsters, and you were so fun and you were so kind, because I was like really, really nervous, and I was just this nervous kid coming just watching a rehearsal. And then I remembered that you asked me if I want to join the warm up, and I was like, I'm not an actor for the show. I was just the assistant set designer, or so. And it was a fun time that I'll never forget, and I look forward to hopefully doing that again if I take one of your classes. So. And also, you also directed All My Sons. How does wearing that director's hat change the way you see craft compared to being on stage?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's such a pleasure working with you, and you're an amazing warm-up coach. So, yeah, I had so much fun working with you, and working on, yeah, I mean, directing is a different, it was really intimidating at first because it's, obviously different than being the actor, sort of, um, you know, being basically kind of overseeing the room in a lot of ways. I mean, but at least that's what it felt like. It was like, oh my gosh, I have like so much responsibility, and in a way, I really do. But also, I realize it's very much like my approach is very collaborative anyway. So even though that's sort of the director has a lot of responsibility in the room and is tending to the actors and the designers and everything, it's also my job to make it feel like we're all on the same team, like creating something together and discovering something together and being really open, of course, the actors' ideas, and, wanting to come in with a strong vision of what I want to do, but being really flexible to what develops based on, what everyone brings every night to rehearsal. So, I learned that, and then I learned that it's very much the things that I wanted to do as a kid with filmmaking and whatnot, that I always wanted to be directing in some capacity. So, getting to come back to that in a sense, like how I approached it at SF State and in the shows that I did there. It's really cool. And then it's also it's a very different experience when the show opens and is being performed, to be on the other side, sitting in the audience. I realized that was the first time that happened, how nervous I was, in an interesting way.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add, I remember like during the rehearsal process, like not the tech and dress rehearsal, but like during like the prep rehearsal, I forgot what it's called, but I remembered like once we start getting into where Agnes prepares for the final battle, I did remember asking a suggest for like a suggestion to one of the songs that on because on the and which is the remake version of "Eye of the Tiger" from the movie Turbo. I know the play takes like place in 1994, and Turbo was released in 2013. And but
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this fits perfect well. I mean, and I just want to say thank you and shout out to the set designer for taking my advice, even though they didn't really have to. I just thought it would fit like perfect. It would fit like perfect because I'm not like the director or the assistant director, which I'm still learning a part of. So
Yeah.
in a way, you're almost translated between two worlds: the actor's perspective and the bigger picture of storytelling. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and skip. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to a few questions if that's okay with you, because I don't want to hold up much of your time.
Right.
You co-founded the Actors Space SF, which is giving local actors a space to train and perform. So, what was that vision behind that project, and how has it grown since you started?
Yeah, well, I have actually different programs that I've done, and Actors Space was something that I started just before COVID, actually, and while it's no longer I'm no longer operating the Actors Space. That was I'm now operating basically a program called Russell Coaching,
Russell
and
coaching.
I call it the Actors Gym. Basically, is the workshops and classes I do. But yeah, so I've had different sort of programs. One of them was the Actors Space. It was a collaboration that I with a dear friend of mine that I started, Lauren English. Actually, we created together before COVID, and I learned a lot from that experience of having that program and us working together, and then I've since now operating my own, and it's all kind of like in development into like what it looks like next. But yeah, my whole mission with having these programs, whether it's working in collaboration with somebody or working individually, is that I really am invested in obviously teaching, as you know, um, and I feel very fortunate to be teaching in the institutions I teach at. But I want to offer up as many spaces as possible for people to learn, but also just to come and play and it, at the heart of it, practice empathy, and it's artists and human beings moving through this crazy world. And there's a lot of subjects that I like to teach. And so this new program that I have now, like, or at least where it is at the moment, is more sort of a kind of, I have a bunch of students who I've worked with, and I reach out and just kind of let them know, like, hey, what do you guys want to do at the next workshop? And I like to sort of empower everybody to let me know what they're interested in, and then the next workshops basically develop out of those ideas, which is, I think, really fun for me, because I'm just kind of open to what people are wanting. And so yeah, long, and in short, basically, it's kind of it's just my way of trying to have a communal, community, building community, for people who maybe can't invest in or afford, longer term classes, but really want a space to be able to come and create. Some of them are, actors. Some of them aren't, in the arts really at all, but they just want to have, a creative outlet somewhere. So, yeah, it's just trying to fit it into my crazy schedule. That's the tough part, but.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a try when I can, because fun fact, when I first started my college journey, I actually wanted to act, but I'm like having to like after having to like memorize it, everything and all that, like maybe not on stage, but as like an improv actor, because I planning to take some improv classes to help cope with my post grad depression, because I'm still going through it, but I've pretty much managed not all of it, but like 99.9% of it. So I'm really, really looking forward to giving that in the acting space a try when I get a chance, even if I'm not like trying to get into like the acting career.
Yeah, no, please do. That's my hope for it all, It's just that you have a community to come to, and that everybody has a space, whether they're going into acting or just like, want to play.
Yeah, and I also wanted to piggyback off what you were saying about community, like I feel like in the theater industry or pretty much in general, even in the Bay Area, it's really about bringing community together because there's like a community in the air that makes you feel powerful and alive, especially in my hometown where I was raised. So I really, really think community is the most imperative thing in the arts for that matter.
Yeah, I agree.
So, your work also extends into film and voiceover. You've been in films like Moss Beach and Being Us, and even led your voice to radio and internet ads. Do you approach those mediums differently rather than, or does one feed into the other?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely different in terms of, well, for many reasons, but I think first at the heart of it, I always approach it like in answering your question about approaching different styles of plays, different theater shows. It's always coming at it with an exploration of like the given circumstances, and treating, bringing as much truth um, to it as possible. But and also, the work I do as a movement teacher, and I'm a very physical technique based teacher, and psychophysical techniques like Michael Chekhov and Laban, and so all of those approaches go into it, no matter the medium. The difference, of course, with like film and is how it's not well, it's a different space. You're working in front of a camera. You're not filling a theater space with your presence and your voice. So I think personally, some of the best actors are the ones, the best actors on stage and on film are the ones who have been trained in theater. They really have this awareness of how to shift their physicality and their energy for the camera, and then do that for theater. And I think that just makes for, personally, I think it just makes for a much more receptive and attuned actor, both for themselves and, their impulses as well as those around them. So it's interesting, I do more theater, of course, like than film work, but I have to remind myself of the space that I'm working in. With voiceover, it's super fun. I mean, voiceover is super fun, and it's, there's a real freedom in it because it's just your voice. But again, it's approaching it with that same kind of like the work of, like what are the circumstances and what are the psychological actions I'm playing, like all the things you do as an actor to sort of prepare. And then, with those voiceover spot, like radio spots or like advertisements, it's its own kind of beast, because you're trying to like do all the work in a 30-second spot. It's a lot to like, it's a totally different journey than doing like a 3-hour play.
I imagine with voiceover, you've got to put all that energy into your voice without the physicality of the stage. And that's such a unique challenge. And I actually thought about wanting to become a voice actor, because you could just be in the studio and then read the script and then specifically for like animation, because I watched a lot of animation shows growing up as a kid, and I was like, wow, they really put their voices in those animated characters. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very fun. It's a very fun job to just like, yeah, just go into the studio and not have to worry about how you look or, just like, and to put the focus on your voice. And oftentimes with those jobs, you just try it different ways, and the director says, oh, like try the line, 3 different ways, and it just gives you this freedom to kind of explore. And um obviously different than like a play. But why I did fall in love with theater more and more is just the exhilaration and satisfaction of you know telling a story from start to finish every night, and going on that journey, which can be exhausting but also really rewarding.
Um, so before we wrap up, let's circle back to Noises Off for someone who's never seen. Without spoiling it, how would you describe the experience of watching this play?
I my first instinct is to say it's you'll be tired because it's uh much like play that goes wrong. I very much think from laughter and also just the chaos that ensues on stage. You'll be surprised, because like you shared about play that goes wrong, you think it can't get any more, wrong, and it does. I It's like a roller coaster. I think, that's kind of what we want out of like a good fun farce is to go on a ride. And my experiences with having done the show in the past, the audience, um, they go on a ride. And also it's the best thing about, and why I love comedy and farce and those kind of plays so much, is that I personally think there's nothing more, going back to community too, cathartic and satisfying for myself, but then being in a room with people and seeing live theater and laughing together. And that's the experience, is getting to like laugh with a bunch of people, some friends, maybe strangers, and there's something really beautiful about that I think we need much, more of today.
See, that's exactly why people need to get out there and see live theater. It's an energy you can't just replicate it anywhere elsewhere. And I 100% agree with everything you were saying, Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a joy hearing about your journey, your teaching, and of course your upcoming role in Noises Off.
Thank you.
No problem. And of course, for everyone listening, you can catch Patrick Russell in Noises Off at San Francisco Playhouse. Previews run September 25th through the 30th. Opening night is October 1st, and the show runs until November 8th. Get your tickets. You won't want to miss this comedy classic brought to life by one of the Bay Area's finest talents. And we will be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, Before we jump into our next topic, we've got some exciting news to share. We're officially bringing back one of our favorite segments, Beyond the Blog. If you're new here, Beyond the Blog is where we rewind and spill the tea on those pop culture moments that had everybody talking before the bubble chat was even born. These are the stories that shape the conversations, the drama, the memes, and sometimes even the headlines we're still seeing play out today. Think of it as us pulling out the receipts, the scandals, the breakups, the feuds, the viral moments, and giving them a fresh look with all the insight we've got now. So buckle up because the nostalgia is about to kick in. The tea is going to be piping hot, and you already know.
And it tastes like bacon.
Okay, soft. You already know we're going to have some laughs along the way. Here's a script for your podcast covering the Nicki Minaj BET story.
Okay, now before we jump into the story, I'm gonna say every star from Rihanna, Britney Spears' little ass. You see what I'm saying? The Pussycat Dolls, they pull a stunt one time or two where it's like you are at the pivot. You know, it is amazing, and then like you didn't come. You know, Beyonce Ben stopped going to the BET Award. You know, Rihanna Ben ain't been at the damn BET. So it's the point where sometimes, but it's not like you don't come. You may just be booked and busy. But the onlookers and the public will look at that as like a snob, like a look down. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to say before we get into what's really about to happen. Because I want to give old Nikki grace. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want no Bob Mattel bitches running after me.
No, you
damn
don't.
Starbucks, okay? But this what happened. Today's tea in 2019. Rapper Nicki Minaj pulled out of the BET Experience concert and also the BET Awards after finding herself on receiving end of a shady tweet from BET themselves. The trouble started when BET tweeted about Cardi B winning her Grammy for Best Rap Album, captioning an article with a quote, "Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj is being dragged by her lace front." Oh. The message did not sit well with Nicki. She felt that the comment was disrespectful, and in response, she announced that Young Money, her label, which includes Lil Wayne, would no longer be a part of the BET Experience or at the awards show. In reaction, BET issued a public apology real motherfucking fast. They said, "Girl, we love you, Nicki. We love you. Quick, I love your mama." And supported her since her early career. And then that tweet violated the respect that they have for her. They also made it very, very clear that the post did not reflect on their values. The apology included removing the tweet and pledging to conduct an internal audit so that something like this doesn't happen again. I think Donald Trump got this shit from Nicki Minaj. That's a baby. We playing chess, not chess. So, was Nicki Minaj justified in pulling out, or do you think sometimes public figures should take the shot in order to avoid fueling drama? And what responsibility does an organization like BET or Disney or ABC have when one of the social media posts causes this kind of fallout? Well, like I said, the artist is in this monumental space in their career. And it ain't them throwing shade, bitch. If you was to throw, bitch, a grand of sand my way, it's gonna be a problem. It's a problem. You see what I'm saying? So is this bullying an industry? Is this being intimidating? Is this protecting your brand? I mean, but if, bitch, I'm gonna tell you like this: if Beverly Punk ass had told them hoes to put in the magazine, they done drug me by my motherfucking edges, cause she got a goddamn Grammy, right? You see what I'm saying? Like You run BET Awards. Why are you worried about this? You know what I'm saying? Like that was messy all in itself. So I get why and how Nikki pulled that their card. But I want to give grace to some artists who are really, really busy and they are out there working and striving and living out their dream. And oh my God, I missed the show. I couldn't receive an award. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Because I want to be there. You see what I'm saying? But I don't want to be ridiculed or put down. I'm like, I think I'm better than, or it's not enough, or I'm bigger than the whole machine. You see what I'm saying? So I give her grace. I get it. I understand. Barbara Lee, bitch, you messy.
So let me give my take on this situation. When it comes to the beef between Cardi and Nicki, I really don't think it was necessary for BET or anybody for that matter to really bring up Cardi into it all.
That's right.
There was no reason to mention her name.
That's what they do to be pitting women against each other, though, in the industry. I'm sorry, that's what they do, and it's all part of a plan. But they have already done it, so it's like they can apologize, but the damage has already been done. It's like you can't go back. So I think that I'm glad she spoke up because I think if you're gonna be in the industry and you're gonna be playing these games, you might as well speak up when you can, and to say, look, we gonna be out. It's just like what folks is doing with the Target. It's just like if you don't all say, okay, well, I'm taking some value away from you if you don't watch your mouth, because that's how this game is played. Remember, because that's how everyone played. They say, watch your mouth, or I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that. Well, that's what she did. She did that. She said, well, watch your mouth, or I'm going to pull my whole camp out. And then you're going to be left with yourself. So
that's right. That's right.
I think part of the reason that post even came out about is because of their history. We all remember the alleged fight back in 2018 and that ongoing tension between Nicki and Cardi. That beef has lived on for years, and I felt like BET decided to lean into it instead of staying neutral, which is what they should have been done. To be quite honest, BET was just being shady, and there's no other way to put it. You can't invite an artist to perform and then make slick comments that stir up old drama. That's not only unprofessional, it's also disrespectful to someone like Nicki, who has played such a huge role in shaping hip hop and deserves better. Because at the end of the day, BET's post didn't do anything but add fuel to a fire that didn't need to be reignited. If anything, it cost them because Nicki pulled out of their event and they had to deal with the backlash.
He be bringing everybody. He be bringing he bring everybody to the yard. Okay. All right. Well, we love being able to unpack what's trending, give our takes, and also shine a light on the stories that matter.
But don't forget. Oops, can we start over? I'm sorry.
Okay. We love being able to unpack what's true. Okay. And
5, 4, 3, 2.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Bubble Chat. Thanks for hanging out with us and diving into all those stories, dramas, and conversations floating around the culture right now. We love being able to unpack what's trending, give our takes, and also shine a light on the stories that matter.
But we don't want the conversation to stop here. We really want to know what you guys think about the topics we discussed today. Do you agree with our takes? Do you see things differently? Or maybe you got a perspective that we didn't even cover. Hit us up on social media, drop your comments, and tag us in your posts. We'll be checking. And who knows who might be ending up a feature in our thoughts on a future episode. And of course, if you are vibing with the show, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave us a review, whether you're listening. It helps us, whenever you are listening. It helps us grow. It helps keeps bringing the conversation that you want to hear and the honesty of the Bubble Chat and how it stays alive. So until next time, this has been the Bubble Chat. Stay curious, stay kind, stay real, and remember, every bubble has a story to tell. We'll catch the next one with you here at the Bubble Chat.